Hi, Sagittarius. Alright, welcome to this space if you're new here, and welcome back if you're returning, of course. Of course. Okay, so a few little things before I jump in. I chose 2 decks this month, a center card, and then I sort of went around, like made a little cross on the around it to even it out, right? Find all the points so we can find the center point. And it seems to be that Aquarius's reading for this time frame for March could be helpful if you'd like to go there. It's a little chilly today. Oh, speaking of that, I keep seeing like a Mars in the 7th house. So to me, this can show a few different things. One is where there could be a lot of passion and a lot of drive to like you doing things with other people. Do you know what I mean? And they could be kind of physical or like action oriented. I did see someone sort of spring cleaning or prepping in a sort of seasonal way for something. Of course, this could also, the passion can come, passion can create a road of love. It can create a road of productivity or of anger or frustration. So just check that, because sometimes with Mars in the 7th, it could be a little bit of frustration with other people. It depends what's going on. But most importantly, if this is your reading and for you, then it would be your control over yourself, right? I guess this could also mean that there's a lot of, you may be wanting, for some of you, others to take charge or to motivate you. But again, as this is your reading, it would be like where maybe other people are doing other things, and so you have to motivate yourself and love what you're doing in that. Now, of course, there could be like a huge, I'm also seeing, because you have this serpent power in the center, which is interesting to me. The Cobra always has a K2 on it. I mean, it's a north node also, but if you know where that is in your map, that could also be helpful. That's something that you're sort of like pushing out of or clearing out. The south node is about past lives or past karma, but it can also be where there's, how do I explain this? Where there's something that you've done because of your past, you have the power to do, like the power, the knowledge, to be able to do something now, the strength to do something now. But with this serpent power, you do want to be cautious. That could be kind of an emphasis of that Mars in a sort of other people way. It's important for you to use this energy when you have it. Let me give you a short story. So this is the coldest winter that it's been for the last few years, right? And so it's beautiful because I actually had an opportunity to have more fire in the winter, right? More warmth in the winter. And I love fire, so it's nice, you know, when it's controlled and productive and practical, right? But this weekend was so nice. It was so sunny, and I asked for it too. I was like, you know, I'd really, if there's a sunny day, I'll take advantage of it. And it was a beautiful sunny day, and I was able to actually work outside. I was able to do something that I couldn't really do because of other things that are out of my control, right? And so while it was available to me, I was like, okay, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to focus. I'm going to do this. Like, can you see, like, my hands are all scratched up. I get cuts all over my hands. They're a little bit swollen now. My feet are even a little bit, like, I think my body's, like, a little bit sore because I did so much. I didn't push myself too hard, but I had the energy, so I did it, right? Because we don't always have 100% of energy, and Sagittarius, you may be the biggest one in the zodiac that needs to learn about their own energy, and like when you use it and how you use it. Because the thing is it's so beautiful, and you can get so much, you can accomplish so much, you know. So when you have the energy and time allows, and it's an appropriate time to allocate that, please do. For instance, today is cool again, and I wouldn't really want to work outside like this. It's also a weekday, not a weekend, so it's like I got to do these other things, right? But now everything is in its place, so it actually makes it appropriate. Okay, let's see where you've been. Oh, strength, beautiful. Okay, so you've been learning more about your own power. Good, good. I would say you've been learning about maybe being softer in your love. This could also be something creative again, where you're like, okay, I know I need to do this. I know I need to do this. And then you do it when, again, time allows. It's also creative energy, right? Like, oh, I want to do this, right? For instance, if you want a dog, you want whatever you want. Let's use dog for example. You want a dog, well, you have to have space for a dog. You have to have, you have to train it. You have to feed it. You have to, there's a lot of have-tos when whatever it is that you want. There are have-tos or musts, right? So maybe that's something that's also important, like, well, what do you want? What are you wanting right now? Not only for yourself, but also that which you love, right? What are you wanting to create right now? What are you loving to create too? I also see it's important for you to be able to soothe yourself as well. Maybe that's a part of it, is like what calms you down or what makes you feel more mellow. Because that's probably hard for you a little bit, right? Mellow. You're such a doer. You're such a go, right? I'm seeing someone like, and then I saw a DJ, like there's so many, well, that wasn't right. It was like this. The fader, right? You push one side into the other like a DJ. How does this song go into the next song? Okay. Just a second. Please remember, you have this Knight of Wands at the top, kind of looking back into the Strength card. Hey, son. So remember, you are not going to have 100% of your energy at 100% of the time. You have, I guess in this time frame, you have to remember that. Allocate the time and be aware of when you have it, and where it's going, right? Let's see the bottom. Okay, Pisces, Aquarius. Those two are important. What are we talking about here? We're talking about Saturn and Jupiter. This card actually represents Saturn in Jupiter, or Jupiter in Capricorn, which is basically about making a choice, right? If you have Jupiter, which is a blessing, an opportunity, an expansion of something, but Saturn is like you have to pick, right? For instance, you go to the pound, you want a dog, it's like you don't take all the dogs, you have to just pick one. Interesting analogy, but And then again, what would it take to do that? Like, are you prepped for the thing that you want, or how do you need to prep for the thing that you are wanting in the future? And maybe for some of you, this has to do with, let me see, like a 6-month process or something like that. It could work in twos. There's something in your heart you have to be more brave about, or remember that your courage, your bravery, your also your ability to be able to, because to me strength also represents boundaries, right? It's like, okay, I can handle this. No, I can't handle that. Yes, I want this, but I know I don't have that. Or I want this and I know I can create this, but I don't have the energy right now, but I know when I do, I'll do this. And if you're working towards a goal like that, like a bigger goal in ways of creation, then again, I see doing what are the little steps you can do that aren't necessarily completely action oriented, although that matters. It's because mentality here also, because you have 8 of Swords down at the bottom. I suppose some of you, somebody could be a little bit afraid of something or still angry about something, so this sort of blocks the forward momentum of creating what you want. What are the relationships with the men in your life? How are the, like, how is that going? Or because masculine energy, men is about action, right? It's the doing. Let's look at an extra card on this 8 of Swords. What did you change in February? What did you do that really shifted something physically? If you did that, I feel like you don't have anything. Well, you don't have much to worry about. Let's do one on the 8 of Swords, one on that. Okay, both ended up with sword cards. All right, this guy's also, look at this. You have the 2 knights, and then this is in the past. So okay, you have to remember, Sagittarius, and I know we're being a little redundant here, but Gemini's your opposite, so this is how children learn, is repetition, right? You have an inner child, this is how humans learn, is repetition. So there could be a lot of energy, again, all that Mars in the 7th house that I saw, like coming at you, like, hey, I heard, hey, mom, hey, 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 something like that. Now, this could be your brain for some of you too, like picking at you, or like it depends what's going on here. And maybe that's a part of it. If a lot of other people in your life are like, hey, 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 trying to get your attention, trying to even distract you or what have you, this is where you need better boundaries. But I'm also saying if a lot of other people are doing that to you for some reason, or you feel like that, this is also like, what's the undercurrent of lesson that, how does this relate to a bigger lesson of you and maybe your family and growing up, or like whatever you're working through? Some of you, I actually see that this could be a great healing in your heart. You're trying so hard to forgive something in your heart. But you have to go, for some of you, you have to go back to where you were. Or where you were, like, maybe this is going back to childhood, or like going, again, I see going back to where you came from, or going back to where you were to be able to solve something. Now, for some of you, this is physical in the future. others of you, this is, or in addition, this is also like an energetic, like memory thing where you're like, okay, you're like prepping yourself for something. You're like, all right, if I go there, what do I do when I get there? Interesting. But I guess you also have to remember that, you know, I'm seeing like okay, let's go to this analogy I see. I see someone's childhood home. And then they grow up and then they leave and all this. And the way that we remember that, when you go back and see it like as an adult, or you go back to that, you go to that town you haven't been to since you were a kid or something like that, like it's going to look, most of the time it's going to be different. It's going to feel different. It's going to look different. There's going to be different people there. Therefore it's different energy. There's a lot of experiences in between. So it's going to shift it, you know. So I guess what it is wherever you are, there you are. So what are you liking to create now, regardless of where you will be going? Like, because you're just taking you with you. Do you know what I mean? Like, home is where the heart, what do they say? Home is where the heart is. My mother told me recently, I don't know if I can remember what it is. My mother told me recently that I actually gave her a little thing, but I didn't actually, I was very small and I don't remember creating it, but I didn't say home is where the heart is. It was something else. It was like, home is where the heart lives, or I don't know. I guess that's the point, is like, you can make it whatever you want to. Now, you do have to overcome something. Maybe this has to do with Aries. Your fourth house, perhaps. So this could have to do with home. It could have to do, fourth house is also the father. I guess this is also being in charge of, like, taking a leadership role in something. Or stepping back and, again, allowing, depending on your circumstance, like, allowing certain others to play their role, right? And then for you to realize where you need to step in, and I see where you need to step into something, where you need help, or where you need to step back, right? And allow something to be. Now, once you work out whatever we just talked about there, you end up with the Two of Pentacles, which is kind of, again, where you have to make a choice. Maybe some of you have to choose between this and that, which was a Cancer reading. From a few months ago, this or that. Second house is also about your bank account, your bank account, spiritually and also financially. It also has a lot to do with how you feel about, like, what you value, what is important to you, and also understanding your own value, and how you play a role within the larger circles of what you're connected to. Now the thing is maybe for some of you, there's like, where do I see this? Where do I see this? Is that what we said? Where do you see yourself in the future? Like, what's around you, or what would you like it to be? Where do you see yourself? What are you imagining for yourself? You want to make sure that that's positive. And you want to pick your head up. whatever you're whatever's teeter-tottering to, or again, the choices, I feel like if you have anything where it's like this or that, you really want to sit on it, really sleep on it, right? If for some reason you take that mature, you don't just rush into it and be like, oh yeah, I want it. It sounds really good. It's really great. Let's do it. Because that's sort of, because there's these nights, it's a little bit juvenile, right? You want to think a little bit more about that. I feel like most of you here, well, all of you here are adults, right? So you want to take that fatherly sort of patient, mature. Again, where do you step back and be like, okay, I heard, what do you think? And if for some reason, for instance, I don't want you to be afraid if you take a second to sit on something. This will actually be helpful because it will help you understand what is necessary and what is for you and what is not for you. And I do feel like there's something that's physical, again, that you need to think about. Right, for instance, lots of people here, at least the way that the messages come out, and I as a reader, like I find most of the messages are very metaphorical, intellectual, spiritual, emotional. These are the foundations of things. But all of these things affect our physical world. So what is it that you are really wanting to create physically for yourself, for that which you are connected to? You know what I mean? Because it's not like when I say yourself, sure, there could be something independent, but everything that you do connects to everything else, right? We're all, yeah, yes, we're all connected. I mean, don't be too worried about the hardship of that. It's more of knowing that you're not alone. Do you know what I mean? Yes, knowing that you're not alone. And that everything will be fine. And I do feel like, again, there's over the next few, what do I see here? This reading feels further than like just in the present moment. Maybe it has a lot to do with the past again. Hi, baby. Like where you came from or what. And I do feel like there's a bit of nostalgia. So just remember when you go back to places in your feelings, like again, like, oh, when I was a kid, or like when I was blank, it's gonna look different. Do you know what I mean? It's always different because you're different too. And I do feel like, okay, say your head, for some reason, like your mind is like going really fast. And if for some reason, some of you with this serpent, some people are scared of snakes, right? Some people are scared of lightning. Both these things can be intimidating in a way. They're sort of strong. If there's a place where it's like overwhelming and you're like, ah, then this is where, I know, baby, this is where you have to stop. And well, I guess you have to ask yourself if your heart feels happy. You know? Is that worry really coming from your actual body? Because sometimes I feel like the head is like a separate floating thing for humans. It's almost as if it's not part of the body. Do you know what I mean? It seems very separate. So I feel like until April, there's something that you should... Whoa. Oh my gosh, one of the cards flew through the deck. Till April, I feel like you should really... 2 months from now. What is that? Yeah, I guess April. Should we go see? Should I see? Let me see what that card is. Just a second. Got it. Oh my goodness. It was Judgment. Wow. Yeah, so you really want to take a look at how you want to, what you're wanting to create in the future. You know, for some of you, this is a creative project. You're like, oh, I want to finish that, or I want to take something to this next step. For others of you, it could have to do with home, like more physical. But either way, there's physicality to it. But if there's anything big, again, you want to wait at least, I see at least 2 months for something. And make sure you read all, you know, you really sleep on it. You know, don't jump at anything right now, because it could be a little fantastical. Sometimes strength, because it's Leo, it can be where it may want something, but it doesn't go over. It can jump at something very fast. So if there's anything where you're like, ooh, I want that, it's like, just sleep on it. And if there's anything that you are really wanting, but you, how do I see this? Well, I keep seeing Gemini. The moon in Gemini, the moon in Aries, the moon in Scorpio. Huh. Oh, you also have some really practical friends, or like your community, I feel like there's some sort of practicality in there. Could also be building, like, where do you take a leadership role in your community? And where is it maybe that you'd want to overcome a little bit of, because even though Sagittarius isn't shy, I feel like Sagittarius is very, like, a bit insular at times. Like, to me, for instance, I find Sagittarius really loves home, even though they say that you're travel. So, like, your family is really important. I find family is very important. Again, Cancer is connected to me, always been connected to me with Cancer energy, which actually is that this or that. Some of you could also be a little bit, like, sexually stagnant. That could also need some energy or some thought around it. Like, again, where it's, like, passion in a different way. Connection with others. Maybe forgiveness. Maybe there needs to be a shift in environment, or, like, to, I don't know, like, change the dynamic between people. Too. Depends what you're working on. It could be, yeah, there could be some healing in that. Okay. Guess that's that. Yeah, Ace of Cups. Love you. I love you, Sagittarius. I know that there may be some things where you're like, you want it to be, there may be something you want to be kind of perfect. Again, just remember you're magical, and you, no matter what you involve yourself with, you can make it what you want. Right? Like that Leo card. You can create it, you know? But I do feel like there's a lot of energy going towards the past, so just be aware that it's always different when you go there when you're now in the future. Do you know what I mean? Sun's coming out. All right, I love you so much. Thank you for being a part of this space. Thanks for being in this life. I do hope this was of service. You do have some opportunities to, I mean, there are some things where you have to be like, I don't know, I want to sit on that, or no. For some of you, you got to be like, no, I don't feel right about that. And even if you don't know why, it's like, this is a test of your intuition. But it depends how stubborn you're being. For some of you, it could go as far as the other way too, where it's kind of like ignoring what opportunities you have. So, but I feel like most of you are aware. But you do, please sit on something and feel it out. You know what I mean? Then your relationships with other people and your communities and all of that, like, golden. Yup. Yup. Like, what are you wishing for? Ooh, these are beautiful cards to close this out. What are you really wishing for in ways of home and your family? Your job? Right? What are you wanting there? What would you like that to be? And if you really love where you live and you really love your job and that's all good and golden, then again, what are some, this is where that like smaller tweaks come in. And it's like, ooh, I want to work on this project, or I want to shift this energy. You know what I mean? Like, it depends where you are. But either way, there is something very exciting if that's what you want it to be. Who are the Leos in your life, too? Yeah. Who are the Leos in your life? Who are the inspiring people in your life? You wake other people up all the time, right? You're like, come on, come on. It's like, I don't know. How do you inspire yourself? Who inspires you? Who do you respect? Who are you attracted to also? Where you're like, yes, this person, I respect this person. And particularly men and women. Who is it? And who is it that you don't? Don't focus on that latter part too much. Just understand, know who it is that you do. And then I guess you'll realize who it is that you don't. Yep. Okay. I love you so much. Take care of yourself. I'll see you next time.